listening to Under the Umbrella podcast. Each week, we'll discuss various topics under the umbrella of the LGBTQ community. And I'm your host, Angel. Hey everyone, welcome to an episode of Under the Umbrella podcast. I am your host, Angel. And on today's episode, I will be covering a topic I've been going back and forth about whether or not I would cover it. But the topic is the Black experience under the umbrella. And I'll start it off by just saying I was reading something on social media, made the unfortunate mistake of reading the comments. And one of the comments I came across, it read, the LGBTQ community need to understand they ain't special. They just normal people and stop pushing for special treatment and inclusion in everything unless they earn it like everyone else. They have people walking around on eggshells. Don't let them hold you hostage. Signed, a woman of color. And I say that because it was a woman of color who posted that. If that profile is real, because people, there's a lot of trolls out here, and they will create a fake account in a heartbeat just to sit and post nasty shit. But for argument's sake, let's say that's a real account and this is a person of color. As you know, my podcast is based out of the United States of America. And as great as this country is, it is also nasty as fuck. We have a lot of hate in our country. That is facts. If anybody wants to dispute me on this, just look around you. Just look around you. You can turn a blind eye to it. That don't mean it's not there. But as beautiful as our country is, we do still have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of nasty, hateful people still in our country, unfortunately. Um, and with that being said, it's no secret that our country, women, we still have a lot of rights that we don't have that are, I don't want to say equal to men, but the whole pay thing. Because some people, when you start saying equality, and they're like, well, you take out the trash and you do this and you do that. And it's like, that is not what the fuck I'm talking about. But, we still have so much work to do when it comes to women's rights. We have a lot of men that run um, our laws, our Congress, our judiciary system. It's just a bunch of old white men making a bunch of decisions for women, for our bodies. So that's why I say that as a woman, we have a lot of work to still do in our country. Add black on top of that, a black woman. We don't have the same equality as our white sisters. We just don't. And people will argue with me on that. It's facts. It just is. So it's very disheartening to see a woman of color make a comment like this. Now, with that being said, um, replace the LGBTQ community with black. So I'll reread that and add black instead of LGBTQ. The black community need to understand they ain't special. They just normal people and stop pushing for special treatment and inclusion in everything unless they earn it like everyone else. They have people walking on eggshells. Don't let them hold you hostage. The whole the whole the whole narrative changes. It does. And the one thing that is true about that when it comes to LGBTQ community is that we are normal people. Thank you for acknowledging that, lady. But everybody don't view us as such. Everybody don't view us as such. We don't have the same equality and rights as heterosexual people. And this is when one of those times I would assume that you are heterosexual when I can say to you, sweetie, that you have privilege. You know, the privilege that you like to say white people have, because they do. They do. White people do have privilege. And again, I've mentioned this in another episode. That's a trigger word for a lot of people, especially white men, especially older white men. That is a trigger word for them. Our younger white brothers, they know it, they get it, and they use their privilege. A lot of them that I know, they use their privilege for good to make sure that equity and equality exists for their black brothers and sisters. But for you being heterosexual, you are afforded privilege. That's facts, which is why you would write something like that. That's why I'm assuming that you are heterosexual. Why else would you write something like that? But it's just very disturbing. It makes me also think about a post that I saw on social media. It's no secret our country has been in a hot ass climate this year, 2020. A lot of people have written this year off. For me personally, I'm not writing this year off. We still have several months to go in this year, and this is when I would say everything is all about perception. Yes, we are living in a pandemic. Yes, people are struggling. Yes, people are hurting, but it's a lot of people that they aren't letting the pandemic affect them. And when I say that, I mean in the sense of they are still working, they're still helping people, they're still using their resources for good, they're still using their privilege for good. So all of us not writing this year off. Yes, it's a lot of shit going on this year. It is the it is a very interesting year. The most interesting year I can say I've witnessed in my lifetime. And I've witnessed some shit in my lifetime. This year has been very interesting, but it's been a beautiful year for me personally. With that being said, I remember seeing another post when things were starting to die down a little bit. People aren't necessarily, or you're not seeing as many people say Black Lives Matter, because we do. I'm not going into that conversation right now because a lot of y'all keep hijacking that narrative, making it, and start talking about black on black crime. That's a bullshit ass statement. Stop saying that. It's just crime. And I'm not saying it's okay. I'm not I'm not I'm not promoting violence of any sorts, but it's crime. People commit crimes in the communities that they reside, no different than any other race of persons. So stop saying black on black crime, especially if you black. Stop saying that shit. The shit was created to continuously divide us from other individuals and especially ourselves. Stop saying that. It's crime. And yes, it needs to be dealt with, no different than any other community. But with that being said, I remember seeing another post that somebody posted again when the climate of everything happening with George Floyd being murdered. I remember somebody posting something. Um, Billy, I forget his last name. Forgive me. He's an actor. He basically had posted something just talking about the division. Now he wasn't talking about the division. He was just basically saying, don't forget about the LGBTQ community, speaking to the black community. And that pissed a lot of people off. People like, oh, here goes the division. Here they come. Here they come. That one, yeah, read the comments again. And somebody's like, they can know my nerves. All they do is choose sex over their race. That ain't how that work, bruh. That is not how that works at all. Because guess what? When I walk outside, people see my black ass face before they see anything else. They see me. And when I say black, I mean I normally call myself, I have beautiful caramel skin. They see that first. They don't see my sexuality first. That is something else once they see me with my wife all the time. If they don't know me, people just assume that we a couple. But I've moved to a part of our country where nobody cares about that shit. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's still work that needs to be done. Don't take that as people aren't still hateful. Hateful people exist everywhere. But the laws here, there are a lot of laws in all of the cities or the municipalities, and I'm saying municipalities because where I'm from, we had a bunch of municipalities. Um, back in St. Louis, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. There's not a lot of laws in the individual municipalities, and work needs to be done in that area still. Which is why people are still able to discriminate against people in different businesses and whatnot, and it has to stop. Whereas in the West Coast here in Arizona, it's different, but that doesn't mean the work is done. That's not what that means at all. Um, but anyways, that comment, it triggered me, and I'm like, what do you mean we choose sex over our race? It just further reminds me that, one, people only understand things from their level of consciousness, and that's just facts. It's just true. And I even saw a local representative in St. Louis who was trying to educate these people, and he was for a hot second talking about transgender rights. And I could tell that those people in those comments, they respect this representative. And so they eventually backed off a little bit because he said he was going to talk to them so they can understand. Because they were like, it was something else that was said, like, they have more rights than we do. They, meaning the LGBTQ community, we, meaning black people. And then I'm like, where the fuck you hear that at? Where did you get that idea from? Where? I sometimes just don't have words. I just don't have words because at the end of the day, all of us are human. When it boils down to it, we are all human. And, but, a long, long time ago, centuries and centuries ago, people paid attention to race and was real shitty about that. Real shitty about that. Sexuality, people being attracted to people of the same sex, that has been a thing for a long time. Those of you who are churchgoers, who are Bible thumpers, it's in that book that you love to read called the Bible. And if everything in there is true as you make it seem to be, none of this is new. It's been around for a long time. But yet, somehow, the LGBTQ community always gets the shitty end of the stick. I don't care how many people you see um, flamboyant in how they carry themselves. That person is just comfortable in their skin. But we don't have, there are so many laws that still need to change to assist the LGBTQ community to make it so that we receive the same equity and equality as the heterosexual community. Don't believe me? Go look it up if you care to. Now, if you still want to be ignorant to the fact, then you'll just keep spewing out hate, and that's your choice. That's not where I am, you know. But it just makes it frustrating. And the reason I mention this being the Black experience under the umbrella, UTU, the reason make mention of it being the Black experience, because it is frustrating at times for us who are Black and under the umbrella of the LGBTQ community. It's frustrating because, again, and you'll hear me say this a lot, society is the reason why so many things are so fucked up. Society has placed all these labels on everybody, and it causes people to be real cliquish. Like back in high school, you remember that experience, where you have the popular kids, you have the gothic kids, you got the nerds, you got the slutty girls, you got the cheerleaders. That's what society continues to do to us even as we become adults. And it's sad. But people like me, I'm an easygoing, loving person. I don't give two fucks about that. You good to me? I'm good to you. You love me? I love you. It is so easy to love people. It is. It's so easy to love people. And the hate, wherever you learned it from, regardless of your race, wherever you learned to be so hateful, whether it was your family, your friends, the circle of people you hang around, your associates, Wherever you learn this hate from, it can be unlearned. It can be unlearned. It's just frustrating. It is very frustrating, you know? And at times I literally just have no words for it. It's like, damn, you being like this too? We fighting the same fucking fight. I just got an added layer to my shit than you do. You don't get that. You don't get that. And it's frustrating at times. It is. It is very frustrating at times. It's not fair. It's not fair. And it is heartbreaking. But I refuse for anybody to tell me what type of rights I have and tell me who I am. I don't give a fuck who they are. I don't care what their race is. That is the one good thing about living in this country. In the midst of all the hate of this country, we still have some laws here in the country as a whole that many people in other countries, in other continents, don't even have, because they can be murdered for just being themselves, for living their truth. Do you really think people would choose? And I'm not talking about some of these chicks you see kissing in clubs thinking doing that because they think the shit is cute. The shit ain't cute. The shit is not fucking cute. It is people out here being murdered, fucking slaughtered for being themselves. That sounds familiar, right? That sounds very familiar. Because I've seen many articles of so many people being found hung from trees this year. Young black boys. All written off as suicides. Nobody cares. Nobody's saying anything. Nobody's speaking up for them. Not enough to bring forth change. But anyways, that is a beautiful thing about living in this country in the midst of all the hate, as I said, is that I can still live my truth and hold my head up very high in the midst of hateful comments like that. Because there's no reason for people to be that fucking hateful. It is a huge reflection of you, not me. Your problem isn't with me and my sexuality or the next person and their sexuality. What's going on with you that you're that hateful? That you're that racist? I'll throw that one in there too. Let's go ahead and talk about all of it for a second. What's going on with you? That says a lot about you and your character and how shitty of an individual you are, regardless of your race. If hate is the only thing that spews out your mouth, do better. You can do better. That is a choice. That is a fucking choice. My sexuality, it ain't a fucking choice. The only choice I made was to be myself and walk in my truth. That's the only choice I made. And not hide. And as she said, be normal. Because I am normal. Ain't shit wrong with me. And there's nothing wrong with anyone else under the LGBTQ umbrella. Not a single fucking thing. Anyways, this is something that can be covered over many topics. And like I said, I might get backlash. I might not. I don't know. I know one thing. I am grateful for people who know that the LGBT community, um, we still have a lot of work that needs to be done for us to have equity and equality. Imagine being fired from your job because of your race, just for being you. That's still going on in our country in so many states that you can be fired from your job for being under the LGBTQ umbrella. Do you think that's right? I don't. I don't at all. But anyways, this is when I'm truly grateful for people who are our allies. And when I say our allies, I'm speaking of people who are my my brothers and sisters of other races who support me as a black woman. I'm talking about my allies who support and love me for being bisexual. I have a lot of allies out here. And as much as it pains me to read comments like that, I know love trumps all. I know people get tired of hearing that, but it really does. Love is the greatest force out here. It just is. Look at some children playing. They'll show you. They'll show you what love is. They don't care about your race, your sexuality, your gender. They don't care about any of that. They just see another human being and just want to play with that baby, that other baby. But everything that we've learned, our ideologies, we forced that on these children. Our hate, our love. Me, I forced love on mine. I'm not a hateful person. But it's just so much work that still needs to be done. But if you are a black person and you are a person who spits this bullshit out your mouth, ask yourself where that came from. Where did that come from? Why are you being so hateful? Why are you being so hateful? And before, don't say because the Bible said A, B, C, D. Because the Bible said a lot of shit in there that y'all doing. And you just turn the page and act like it ain't going on. So don't come at me with that bullshit, please and thank you. But seriously, like where's all this hate coming from? When did we get so hateful and we trying to people keep saying equality? We're fighting for equity. Equity is up here. Equality is down here when it comes to our white brothers and sisters. We need equity. But I see equality getting thrown around a lot. So be it. But when did we get so damn hateful? And why? Anyways, again, this is something I could cover probably over several episodes. I'll sit and think if that's something that I want to do or not. Um, but as you all go about your day, know that you are loved, you are supported, you are enough, and you are for damn sure worthy. I don't give a damn what anybody got to say about it or about you. You are worthy. I don't give a damn about people being hateful and nasty. You are fucking worthy to live your life, live your truth. You are worthy of being happy. You are worthy of equality. You are worthy of equity. You are worthy of whatever you want out of this life. You are. That's why I had this t shirt made that says, I am worthy. So when people read it, they're saying it for themselves. And it says under the umbrella. We all fall under all kinds of fucking umbrellas. We just do. Society's done that. That's what that is, labels. That's another word for labels. So you plug in whatever label you want. But you are fucking worthy. Don't allow anybody else to tell you otherwise. I love y'all. I hope that everybody learns to live and lead in love first and foremost. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for joining us on Under the Umbrella podcast. Check us out on Instagram at UT Umbrella on Facebook at 1UT Umbrella, subscribe to our YouTube channel at Under the Umbrella, and visit our website at utumbrella.com. As always, subscribe to the show to catch every new episode, and leave a review so we can continue to bring you fresh content. If you had a question to submit for the Ask Angel segment, please submit to contact@utumbrella.com. See you next week.